Hey guys, in this next video we're going to be talking about an important topic, which is opening up the spinal column. This is something that's a fundamental aspect of Wing Chun, but it's not really talked about in this art. So I do hope you enjoy it. Let's get straight into it. Oh, before we get into it, if you haven't subscribed to the channel already, please do. If you like the video, hit that like button. And if you have something to say about the topic, please do get involved in the comments below. It really goes a long way to help us grow this channel. Thank you.
冇嘢啦，你冇嘢，冇事冇停。練多啲先，到老都唔會矮。係，多謝。養高，仲有得高。我咗嘛？估唔到啊！你咁做嘅家伙，開到我嘅，一路咁上，你頂起佢啊嘛，撳落啊！即係 feel 啲嘢，一層唔知咩？你撳住㗎啦，算係咁啦。咁我而家呢個牌喺呢度行。真係唔知係咪？仲有隻歌。佢即係你一鬆咗，我一引導你咧，你就會每一個關節之間咧就會離開啲咁多，離開啲咁多咁啊，咁慢慢咪好似高咗成半寸啦。呢個高度係冇變嘅。嚇？高度係冇變嘅，但係嗰個感覺。同埋佢有一種力，好似頂起佢咁樣。即係佢撳好似你冇撳過咁樣，即係有力反擊㗎。好受力咯。係啊係啊。
Every single one.
Yeah, but do I think about China? Do you think about those opening, or do you just think about the whole spine, like just raising the whole spine?
你係諗唔係即係諗一節一節嘅，係諗成條嘅。
唔係，你初成諗就成條嘅，你而家咧就要逐漸慢慢嚟嘅，你一次過做唔到㗎。咁你將來成功咗就可以一次過咁多一齊先。
That's
interesting. I thought it was the other way around. So you just the whole spine, right? The whole spine, and then it would
最後嗰節咧就係咁樣啦。咁呢度有個
呢節開始。
Actually, when you think eventually it's the whole spine.
Yeah.
At the meantime,
you need to relax maybe.
Correct, right? I translated correct, right?
你兩旁啲肌肉跌到咧，佢唔多唔少都跌啲咁多。
So here this lady asked Master Choi to check her spine to see if there's any issues in the spine. Throughout the last 10 years of his teaching, when he was teaching, focusing more on the spine, he would find, working with people's spine, he would find misalignments and things where people couldn't rise through, couldn't decompress that area, couldn't relax around that area. We all have issues in our spine. I think if anyone over the age of 21 took an MRI, there would be some quote unquote issues, where there's some bulging discs or something like that. I myself recently, 2 years ago, had an MRI, and there was six 6 discs bulging, 2 in each curve. But I'm not having, there was a wedging in my thoracic spine as well, but I can open through those areas. So it's not just about misalignments, but it's also about whether you can rise up through it, whether your mind can connect to that area and be able to rise up through it. This idea of decompressing the vertebrae is very, very important in Wing Chun, especially in the last decade of his teaching. And this term that you heard in this video called Seng just means, in Cantonese, it just means to rise. It just means to rise up the spine, to decompress. So here, and he said when it prevents you from becoming shorter, he actually was serious about that, because he didn't get shorter. But when he says you might actually get taller, that's obviously he's just making fun. He's joking about that, but he actually didn't get, I've said this in other videos, he actually didn't get shorter compared to his peers. He would say, people that with my peers, over the decades, taking photos with them, they're getting shorter, and he's still pretty much around the same height. So he's not getting that degeneration in the discs of the spine, because he's always keeping them, or he's constantly decompressing them with his practice, right? So that part he's serious. So compared to his wife, when they first met, she got shorter, naturally, as we get older, we get shorter naturally. She's got, so basically there's like an inch difference between the difference in their height from when they were young compared to when they were older, where she got shorter and he didn't. But yeah, about the getting taller part, obviously, is just having fun, having a play. So here now, he's getting someone, obviously, as you can see, pressing down on the head. This is the easiest way to test or to get some result when someone's pressing directly down on the head, as is in this case. This is the easiest way. Now, the people that don't have problems in their spine and that are so two things: they don't have any structural issues with their spine, and second thing, their muscles around the spine, their back muscles, relaxed. I mean, I'm talking about from hamstrings to glutes, the whole posterior chain is relaxed enough. They can access it. It's relaxed enough so that he can guide them to rise up. So in this case, she was. Now, this doesn't mean that she can do this by herself. Even this easiest way of testing of someone pressing down on her head, if she was to do it by herself without his guidance, because he's giving her tactile sensation of which vertebra, how to rise up, and guiding her mind up through those areas. If he didn't have that, if he didn't help her, that she wouldn't be able to do it by herself. It would take more practice. And what people tend to do, because they can't feel the spine, in the beginning, we would tend to push up, use our legs to push up off the ground. That it wasn't a decompression in the spine. We're just trying to push against the person's pulling down. So the person pulling down might feel some result, but actually that's not genuine. And there's this, as I said, it's the easiest way of testing activity in this kind of activity in the spine. And there are much, much harder ways, like pulling on the head, like almost like in a clinch, where you're pulling the person. So try to bend their spine using perpendicular force. Those type of stuff is really, like, the feeling is, when someone's doing it right, the feeling is, you might have seen me doing in videos and seminars, the feeling is from the person trying to bend is like if you try to bend a fire hose that's got flow of water rushing through it, you can't bend it. It's got flow inside it. The intention is constantly rising up the spine. That's the feeling. So yeah, this is a tangible thing where he's saying, of course, she's not literally getting taller. He said it feels like you're getting taller. Of course, there's not a literal getting taller. Yeah, you might be a couple of millimeters. If each vertebra is decompressing, because gravity is constantly compressing it. Of course, it's constantly got the gravitational pull. So when we release that upwards, if someone can do every single vertebra of the spine, they might get a millimeter or two of actual getting taller. So it's not really physically getting taller, but there is really a physiological change absolutely happening within the spine. Is this a tangible thing? I mean, we're feeling it. We were feeling it. You can feel it on the person that's doing it. There's ways to test it, and you feel it yourself. And in regards to tailbone, the tailbone obviously, dangles down. You don't push the tailbone under. This is a misconception people have, and they end up tucking their pelvis under, and they're straightening the lumbar curve. One very important thing to mention here is that we keep the S curves up. We keep the natural curves of the spine. We do not physically straighten the spine. This is a misconception. I know they do it in some other arts. I know people in Tai Chi that straighten the lumbar curve. A lot of Wing Chun people tucking their pelvis. And now he was very, very clear on saying we do not mess with the S curve of the spine. You keep the natural curves of the spine. There's a reason. Evolution, you don't mess around with evolution. You keep the natural S curves, but you decompress them. So, for people that tuck their pelvis under in Wing Chun in their stance, what happens there is eventually, I know a few people that have got lower back issues because, again, we're not supposed to straighten the spine. You're supposed to offload the gravitational pull from the spine, and once that can be done, something happens in terms of a state, and we get to tap into. And look, the nervous system's right there. The central nervous system is right there, right? And this is there's a lot of videos you can see on the YouTube channel on this subject of Sing and how this activates what he called Lim Tao, this state that's cultivated in the correct practice of Wing Chun through Lim Tao. And with Nim Tao, you get sort of remarkable access to the musculoskeletal system, to the muscles and the joints and tendons and ligaments, etc. I mean, you're already getting this kind of access by doing this in the spine, but it's just the spine is the most important part. Again, I've said this in videos before. When we asked him why is the spine the most important, he said, "Look, I don't know," but he said, what I know is that it must be done with the spine. If you can't do it, then if you can't do the spine, then you won't be able to do it elsewhere as well. So it has to come up the spine. Like the way I explain it is like watering a tree. When you water a tree, it has to come up through the root, up through the trunk. So the root being the tailbone, up through the trunk being the spine. And then from there, it can go to the branches, which is the limbs, the arms, the legs. So this spine, the importance of the spine, he was doing it in his own training, and that's why he was able to do this produce remarkable power with all these movements, as you guys have seen in videos. But he didn't know about it. He didn't know that this is happening in his body, and this is what's activating Nim Tao. He only came up with this realization literally in the last decade of his life. It was through us, the Westerners that were there, that were training day in, day out, that he figured this out, and slowly, one by one, we started to be able to do it, what she's doing with his help. And then later on, a handful of people could do it on their own, not the whole spine, bits of the spine, and slowly we worked on it to be able to get it through the whole spine. And then be able to, once you get it through the whole spine, you have to start to bring it out into the limbs and start to actually be able to apply force with it. Be able to practice the forms, do the application to be able to actually, mobilize mass through these open condition of the body, and to be able to produce force. So, yeah, this is very interesting. The power source of Wing Chun, certainly, we say it's not the Dan Tien in terms of the internal Kung Fu. A lot of internal Kung Fu, they say you cultivate at the Dan Tien. We're very clear that in Wing Chun, we do it through the spine. It's all in the spine, from the tailbone rises up. If you're talking about flow of, you can call it energy. Let's call it intention. He called it Nimlik. And he said, I use that term because it's easier to understand for people. Nimlik translates to mind force. So basically, rather than saying chi is flowing up the spine, it would just say it's just your intention is flowing up. But there is some substance, because intention, mind, is intention can mobilize energy. There is energy in the body, and without intention, we mobilize it.
So I hope you enjoyed that video. Again, do hit that like
and share and subscribe button. And if you do have an opinion, questions, disagreements, whatever it is, please do get involved in the comment section below. Guys, this is a beautiful art, and I've witnessed over the 2.5 decades, I've witnessed it help many lives. So the idea is to really spread the word, to grow this channel, and try to help as many people with it as possible. So just getting involved and writing a comment, even if it's a negative one, hitting that like button, sharing with your friends, all of this goes a long way to help us in doing that. Thank you very much.